And it is recording now.
Excellent.
So no ginger.
No ginger.
Sure.
Usually she texts me too if we're late logging on.
Great. I'm just gonna pull up the agenda.
It's a little different for all three of us too, because we had to switch everything around, so we've been running around.
Yeah, we didn't know that the city thought that we met on like a standard day every month. And we were like,
And therefore
No.
only had a certain number of Zoom accounts to.
So
Yeah.
we apologize for not being more readily for you guys.
Yeah, and that's why we had to cancel the previous meeting. There were too many meetings on that night, so we're.
I mean, also full disclosure, none of us really know what we're doing. We're just like.
We're figuring it out. We're kind of winging it. We're trying to still be great citizens while, you know, figuring the rules out.
Well, I think it's so nice that you're doing this.
I think it's nice you guys came.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm excited about this, like having people just,
Yeah.
this is a, you know, like the three of us have been working together and we love working together, but the fact that we're actually getting community members coming in, it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Send Lloyd away.
Please do.
Yes.
That's the most important part. That's why we're
Yeah,
here.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
just gonna pull up this
I
my
don't get
phone while this
involved with the city
loads.
council stuff and not,
Right.
so I'm not as well educated about what's going on.
We are not either.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure it out, but in the meantime, we're like, you know, just showing up to a meeting is like first step.
Well, Amanda knows, she started some great committees and, you know, the city
Which
is
committees?
overly supportive.
Yeah, well, for years, I started and ran the Barre City Tree Committee and the Barre City Community Garden Committee.
Oh, that's great,
Both
yes.
those ran for successfully for many years. The Tree
Yep.
Committee was, I think, the most successful of all of them, and yeah, so I think I have some tips on how I think why they were successful.
Yeah.
Was a diverse group of people, you know, stakeholders from the industry, and then promised to keep the meetings to 1 hour. That was really important. I think truly this
Yeah,
knowing,
absolutely.
yeah, knowing the out time is super important for folks. Yeah, having very clear next steps and like homework in between, right?
Yeah.
Keeps people like accountable and engaged, and then it makes the meetings like I get curious, like, oh, I wonder what, you know, Troy came up with or whatever. So it keeps people kind of on hook to go. That might be it, you know, and continuing to kind of advocate for your committee within the city. I know it's shifted a little bit. It seems like there might be a lot of support for your work, and there always was support for our work as well, as long as it didn't come with any needs, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We got a lot of yeses, and then yes, good luck, you know, kind of thing. Which,
Is this
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
cost money
Yeah.
or require
exactly,
any action?
yeah. But again, I have done a lot of this kind of community service work in other communities, and came up against a lot of resistance around like, okay, well, a lot of like, not fear, but okay, well, we've got to organize this committee and this person has to weigh in, this person, and it takes a lot longer. What I found in Barre is that things can move very quickly, and that if you're willing to do the work, that it's like such a wonderful place to do that work. So, so just thank you all for taking an interest and for kind of taking the baton, because I definitely like held it for a really long time, and then I had to put it down. And in some cases, some of the initiatives that I really charged forward with the help of community members and a lot of students, those things charged forward without me, but then a lot of things just kind of fizzled out, and I had to be okay with that, you know, and let go. So I would love, I'm coming to the committee with being asked by wonderful Ellen, but as a resource. So if you are like, hey, we found this weird thing, did you guys do that? Or what were your thoughts? Or did you ever think to do this, but you might have? And so a little bit of background, I taught over here at the Tech Center for 10 years in Central Vermont, but 8 years over there. And it was this amazing little group of students. We were the natural resources and sustainability team. And so it was really like service-based, and there was a lot of their initiatives that we kind of moved forward through these two committees. So I kind of had an engine behind too. So a lot of the trees on Main Street they planted, all of the tree guards, they had to work for years to advocate for those tree guards. To put
I'm very curious how deep that goes, because I really want to Yeah. The like bed around the tree in front of the club.
Nice,
Oh.
yeah, interesting.
But I don't know how long, I don't know how deep the
Mm.
dirt is,
I
like
can,
what
I'm
type.
down underneath there, I can tell you
Right,
the exact
right.
space of that tree well, and unfortunately, it's not even big enough for the tree's roots, so, so.
Yeah,
it
we're looking to actually put in some rain gardens as well, so it would
Excellent.
be
Amazing.
an awesome resource, yeah.
Definitely,
I was thinking I would get like some little psyllium for the.
like the top, yes. And so what we told the Grackles, when we were like a really bustling committee, people knew to ask these questions, and you know, lovely folks over at Grackles asked, can we plant within that space? And at that point, our main concern, we just needed to add more organic material, because as you see, the plow comes through and just like
Yeah.
scrapes off that top and really impacts those roots. So we said you can't impact the soil, but you can add whatever you want on top. So she
Okay.
would like add annuals every year to the
Yeah.
top.
Oh, cool.
And then those would grow beautifully. So, but now she uses like containers, just puts them out. So, but what I would be all supportive, and I want to tell you this resource, is actually taking away some of that concrete and expanding those
Oh
wells.
gosh, I would love that.
Okay.
And it's not as hard as it seems. And so this Adam McCullough, he's our.
Can I just pause us
Yeah.
and
Oh,
call
yeah.
the meeting
Yes,
to
please.
order?
Oh gosh, of
Cause I just
course.
wanna make sure recorded, we're all
Yeah,
official, this all
absolutely.
gets captured.
Right.
And I'm not in charge, I just
Yeah,
sit in front of the
thank you.
computer.
You are
I
now.
got excited. Yeah.
So
You
you
are.
can call the meeting to order at 6:50. Any adjustments to the agenda?
No,
Okay. And now we're on to public comment. Amanda.
Okay, great,
And
okay.
And can you remind me of your last name, please?
Garland,
Okay.
Garland.
Great, thank you.
But I would love for you to add the name Adam McCullough, and it's McCullough, and he's our Vermont Urban and Community Forester, and he's been dedicated specifically to Barre. So if you have any tree initiatives or anything, go to him, and there's money there too. So he's talked about expanding out these things and making like garden spaces and doing all of that. It's just that
that's great.
he needs kind of you all to push that forward. I don't know if you've written grants yet.
His number's right there if you wanna write it.
Ooh.
Perfect. So one
Thank
thing
you.
I got in trouble in the city for writing a grant, and I was involving the prepper people, I thought, because we were so like emboldened as the tree committee. We were doing such great work, so we were like, we'll write this grant with the state agency, and it was to create the tree nursery, which we have with Barre City Tree Nursery, and
Wait, where's that?
yeah, I'll tell you about it. No, not that many people know about it, so
Okay.
don't worry. But one thing I want to say is that don't write any grant on your own, right? And so Janet Shatney is of course the person you need to get involved on that. But cool, that was just one lesson I had to learn kind of the hard way. But we did get good money for building this tree nursery, which is the intent of the tree nursery was to create a bank of trees so that say we need to replace a tree on Main Street or anywhere in the city. Or say you all were like, actually, we've got 200 trees up there, let's just give them away to locals that live in a yard. That's also fine, right? The trees down here cost about $900 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my goodness.
so we really
Okay.
saved up some money in planting those up there, and it's been good that it's been kind of left alone for a while because the trees are growing, right? So I'm getting Adam involved up there so that he can kind of be the manager, and then I'm hoping we can inventory what's there and provide a list maybe to your committee as like this resource, right?
That'd be amazing.
Cool, okay.
Yeah, that'd be super, because that's kind of what we're looking to do, so.
Excellent. It's also an amazing space if you ever wanted to engage people around like digging or
Yeah.
really anything. So it is a kind of protected space by the city. It's out by our reservoir. So you guys been out Reservoir Road?
I don't even know where the city reservoir is.
Cool, yeah, good. It's where our drinking water comes from, so it's so good to go see it. It's not in Barre, it's in Orange. So
Okay.
and you're gonna have to.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, and it's on Reservoir Road, and you'll go out, and the access is actually really, like, there's no public access there because we're protecting our drinking water, and it's actually really interesting. I love that waterway because it does have the restricted access that animals, it's great for migratory birds, and beautiful place.
It's very pretty,
Yeah.
but no one can use.
Yeah, yeah.
And the watershed's protected around it.
And you can't paddle there, right?
No, you cannot.
That's what I thought.
Unlike Berlin Pond.
Exactly. But you'd have to get pretty specific directions, and if you all wanted to organize like even just an in-committee or citywide, like a smaller event out there,
Mhm.
we don't want the general public necessarily knowing that it's out there, because again, it is an stormwater plant. And so, but for all of us, it'd be really great to just orient everyone to the site, and then you'll see it as a resource.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so just put that on, like, in no rush, the trees are just gonna grow, and Adam and I will get that list to you. Another resource for you, if you ever want for like public events outdoors, is that we planted an orchard up at Barre City Elementary and Middle School.
No kidding.
And it's
Okay.
up there, so if you drive up from Playground 2000, you kind of drive up to the school, you drive past the school, and there's kind of this they used to call it the upper soccer field, but there's not trees there, so
Mhm.
it's the orchard is about, gosh, almost 15 years old now, so
Wow.
it's, yeah, some good looking beautiful trees. We used to do pruning every year and good
Mhm.
maintenance, so they haven't been kept all that great, but just somewhere, say you had someone show up and on your committee was like, really want to take on some leadership with some like
Yeah.
orchard trees, you'd be like, oh my goodness, do we have the space?
That's a
for
great
that?
idea, because, I mean, one of our goals was to like include a lot of flora and fauna
Nice.
in our community, as
Mhm.
well as including the kids, so,
Totally. They love it up there. They like run around, and I
Mhm.
see like everyone's like branch is broken. I just picture them like hanging in the trees.
I just got involved, I just got in contact with one of the elementary school teachers, and one of their anyways,
Garden?
yeah, gardening.
Yeah.
And
They have a nice.
yeah, so they actually contacted me about the rain garden, and we could talk to them about the orchard as well, because it would be perfect for the kids, and it's right there, so.
Totally. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but there's so.
Yeah, this
once
is
you-
all very good.
No,
We
please
can put that
overwhelm
in
us.
Yeah,
these
okay, perfect,
things.
great, great. And again, these are all just invitations. There's no like expectations for you to take on these leadership or whatever.
We're
We
gonna add
should,
it.
we should tell you that when Haley and I joined the committee, the only thing they ever talked about was the breakfast with Santa and the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
And I am really passionate about like more greenery being in like the downtown area
Nice.
and like
Nice.
beautifying our downtown space.
Right.
Haley is really into like non-children recreational
Small
activities.
community events that are
Right.
of interest to everyone,
And then
outdoors.
Yeah. I love
Josh
that.
really has like a forte and kind of an in because he's the only parent with
I
things
do
that
have
are like more
A
children.
lot of kids.
But when we joined the committee, it was really just like a focus on these two activities, and they never met in person. And then Stephanie left, took early retirement, and we were like, let's meet in person, and every other committee
Yay.
member quit.
Okay.
And so really it's like blind leading the blind
Mhm.
a little bit.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
only lived here for like 3-ish
Yeah.
years.
Yay,
So
what a
all
great-
of the
it's a great way to get
information
involved,
is
yeah.
so good because
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm super involved, but I'm like involved here in this downtown
Right.
sector.
Right.
Cool.
And it's great that like you two are coming, because our other goal is community, like
Right.
getting community involved again. So to have you guys here today is like, this is perfect.
Well,
This
even
is
to
what we're
help
trying to do.
pass the torch in
Mhm.
some respects,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have even
There was
known where
no-
to go to look for these
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yep.
And if you get, I'm here as a resource, so if you're like, what did she say, please get back to me. But also you should recognize that there used to be committees for each one of these different sectors, and they've all been conglomerated into this committee. So what's great about that is that you get to pick and choose what you wanna do, and
Mhm.
anything that you do is gonna be positive, so.
Amanda, would
Good
you
on
like to
you.
join our
Yeah.
committee as well?
That's on the agenda.
We
Yeah, that's
actually
really sweet,
asked
that's really sweet.
Ellie already, but
Yeah. Thank you.
we
That-
definitely need help, and we'd love to have people come join us.
Awesome.
Again, because our goal is community involvement,
For sure.
and there's so many programs, and you're already telling us about stuff that we don't know about, and we need to know about, and we need to get active again.
One here is a bridge as well from the Barre River Access Task Force, and so
Even better.
I just have to say
please.
before we move on
Yeah.
to something else, the garden club puts out containers with annuals for
Mhm.
each. So
Yeah,
they can provide something as
excellent,
well.
the Barre City
Great.
Garden Club.
But they
yeah.
ask, yeah, it's called the
Which is
Granite
in-
Center Garden Club.
Right, which is not a city affiliated club, it's their own.
Just so you know, they
amazing
like
group.
contact you
Yeah.
about putting something.
And they're
Yeah.
looking for new members desperately because they're in the region now.
yes.
We've been looking to get a hold of them too.
I bet,
But I gave you the contact
You did.
information.
Oh, good.
Yep.
You did.
Yep.
I had reached out to them like independently a few months ago, but the first time I had ever seen any type of contact information was from someone made a post on Front Porch Forum, and I was like, this is it, this is the end, because I can reply back, and then they said they'd put me on the mailing list, and I never made it on the mailing list.
Really?
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I know.
Well, Alex-
Probably for the
That's
same
good.
reason.
kind of the
Yes.
same thing with the
Yeah.
Palatiers. I've been trying to like actually get in touch with the Palatiers, but their application is also mail-in only and only cash, which.
Well, the garden club meets at the library and
Is it at
Now that
2
they-
o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday?
I'm not sure when they.
Likely.
I think it's
Yeah.
after, in the evening, I think,
The library doesn't stay open past 6.
6, so yeah, it must be earlier. But anyway, the two ladies that are in charge, is Ally Flint and BJ,
Mhm.
they know that you are interested in
Okay.
getting a hold of them, so.
Perfect.
I guess we're all volunteers too, so it's like kind of.
That's the
right,
other
they're gonna
thing,
have the
yeah.
time and,
Yeah.
but I think the more we're not duplicating efforts, like we've talked about, meeting with the other committees, this is so
Yeah.
helpful.
Or maybe
Yep.
just attend one of those meetings,
Yeah.
but that's
Yep.
hard for you guys, so.
Yeah.
I would
We
love
could have a
to
meeting
give
of the committees, a committee of
Totally.
committees.
I know, right? I'd love to give you the 2-minute spiel on just what
Yeah.
the Barre River Access Task Force is working
Yes.
on. Okay.
Mhm.
So of course, there was these kind of big forums in Barre, and it was identified as a main priority that city folks wanted these river access spots, right? So then the Barre River Access Task Force was formed. This group of folks who are now have been just considering ways to get the message out about the safety of our rivers and to identify areas within the city that we can have these kind of like parks and ways that people can interact with the river. So
Yep.
we actually got a $100,000 grant.
What?
Yep, I'll let that drop for a
Okay.
second.
Oh my goodness.
For we're working with Du Bois and King and Friends of Winooski River.
Mhm.
It's mostly their effort to create a Barre City master plan for these
Mhm.
river access sites. So
Okay.
it's what we'll have is our mapped waterways, which of course are the Jill Branch and the Stevens Branch and Gunner's
Mhm.
Brook. And we'll look at those and they will have prioritized areas, mainly with regards to our FEMA buyouts.
Yeah.
With regards to public access already
Mhm.
that's available, and so we'll have that, which I anticipate we can bring to you all and present to you as kind of the next steps, because to create them into fruition will take like assistance, right, and public input and all of that. I work now for Vermont River Conservancy, so
Mhm.
we got a little bit of funding. Of course, it was my own like special interest in Barre to create a management plan for all of the FEMA buyout lots
Yeah.
with regards to public access. So I'm
Right.
excited about that too. So just wanted to put those two things in front of you those are really tools that you can use that will have clear recommendations, like here's a site where we think you should plant 400 trees, right?
Mhm.
Here's a site we think should be developed as a park.
That's perfect.
Et cetera, et cetera. So
Mhm.
just, if you're like, I wish we had that, just, it's coming.
I know, I have like a little passion project for 2 FEMA lots that are across from my house. I live on Hilltop
Okay. Oh, were
next
they?
to Haley.
So not near any water,
So the
but-
landslide.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
So I have wanted to like find willows or
Yes.
things with really strong root systems to put along that back way.
Now's the time to go get your willow stakes, like
Yeah.
in the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
Yeah, I know
um,
of a spot.
that's great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then I just have a bunch of like native flower seed that I'm gonna start putting there and start staking the area so that the city doesn't mow it
Yeah.
and potentially like turn it back a little bit to like meadow.
Yeah, and for long term, it'd be great with that lens to then put that into the plan, so that then, you're right, because that was my concern too, just seeing how the city has managed some of their other lands of just like mow it and nothing more.
Build a spark on it and.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just hate
Doesn't
it.
add anything.
I would love for it to just be like
Would
a
you like-
wonderful like little pollinator spot.
Love that. Yeah, and stuff that will hold the roots really well too.
Yeah, we're kind of looking at that too, like, another one of our goals was to, we had major floods and we keep hearing about floods, so we wanna like plant stuff that actually is gonna help us with, erosion and whatnot, and willows is one thing that we've, talked about, but, there's just some things we think we can do to kind of keep in the foresight that there are things you can do to kind of help with flooding and whatnot. It's not gonna like totally eliminate it, but we just need to keep talking about it.
Yeah, and we'll provide a species list and recommendations and all of
Perfect.
that, so.
Yeah,
It should be really a guide that's just will empower, folks like you to just take that next
Yeah.
step.
The club, we've offered to host the cleanup crew after
Oh,
the
yay.
river cleanup,
Good.
once everyone like cleans up to come.
Yeah,
to
I
come
remember
back, but
Danielle telling us about that, and we were,
Yes.
yeah, I was so exhausted, and I had to go get a tetanus shot last year, so.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was not
Yeah,
now-
or we can do,
now I'm
or we
protected.
can do breakfast beforehand, like we can make a bunch of
Yes.
waffles and muffins or something and kind of like gear everybody.
and we can have a little booth for tetanus shots.
Right, free tennis.
The
Yeah.
Department of Health come down.
Yeah.
Right.
Great, so the last piece was just about the community gardens and just
Mhm.
recognize, I'm sure you're more aware of those, of course, the one up at Elmwood, which Ellen and I, we really masterminded around that site and
So great.
it's so pretty there, and to think of it, that it has the ability to expand, and I also heard about Ginger's amazing idea with the rose garden,
Mhm.
and I'd love to put in a plug for that to be in the cemetery aspect,
Mhm.
because
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of around the stones that, when things die, they don't replant them, and so,
Right.
and so and keeping it kind of like edibles versus like, obviously we can't eat anything grown on the bodies, so
Right.
we had a great place for the roses, and that's just.
Because they may expand it, it's doubled from 6 to 12 sites.
Yeah.
And so if there's any room at all, I think that probably, Pam Wilson is the contact for that now.
Yeah,
Right.
good friends with Pam. We have some of her
Yay.
art that we're getting ready to
Good.
hang up in here.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Well, she's just about to put out an email to people to see if they wanna come back again.
Oh,
We're so glad to
perfect.
hear that. Keeps it.
Yeah, I had originally asked the city about doing community garden beds on those FEMA lots, and they were like, no, it can't be any type of permanent structure.
Not true though, not true, so, the Brook Street,
Mhm.
so where they call it the trash rack is out there on
Mhm.
Gunner's Grove. Those were FEMA buyouts, and I made sure with FEMA that we were okay to put those raised beds there, and
Okay.
the big thing you wanna know about putting a garden on the FEMA buyout sites is that anything underground they haven't done any work on, so
Right.
it's only growing like up with regards to edibles, and so we even put like a barrier under all of the raised beds that we
Because
put
the
over there.
contaminants, they don't want.
Once we started digging
Yeah.
with students, we were like, oh, it's styrofoam and like an old telephone, like it was just,
Yeah.
like, they literally just rubble
Fill
and fill, so, which is fine, as long as you just keep like,
Keep it up.
ornamentals in the
Mhm.
ground, but but it's hard to manage that, cause all of a sudden someone's like, they're growing asparagus over there in the corner, and so that's really can be tough.
Yeah.
Just
Especially with asparagus, that grows everywhere.
Yeah, so I make sure I have it right in the notes, what
Yeah.
you're saying is where the community gardens are next to Elmwood, or I don't know if that's considered the same, you may expand, so that's not where you ideally wanna see a rose garden, you're saying do it within the cemetery.
Yeah.
Right, or even around the
Yeah.
buildings, there might be room for some small
Yeah.
beds to, that would accentuate the
Oh, that would
buildings.
be pretty.
The only
Nice
difference is
landscaping.
being edible versus non-edible soils.
Okay,
You know what I mean, because if you prioritize the edible area without bodies, then
Yeah.
people, tons of edibles can, but you can never go back, you know what I mean?
And
And
Veterans,
person-
oops, sorry, Veterans
No problem.
Cemetery in Randolph, we do have a cutting garden.
Oh,
So the idea of a cutting
Oh.
garden,
Beautiful.
close to the buildings where the people could keep an eye on them would be
Yeah.
nice.
I think that's lovely.
Yeah, and then I can't recall why we stopped thinking about those FEMA lots for the rose garden, maybe it wasn't big enough.
But just, I think it was the fact that our little horseshoe is just kind of hidden, which I think is nice. Yeah, it is very quiet back there, and that was why I originally thought it would be nice for
I think any of them would be
Like-
great for that.
I can't picture
garden
those.
spot. So if you're going up Washington and you take a right at Stones to go on Hill Street,
Correct.
there's a horseshoe,
Yeah.
that is Hilltop.
Do you know where, there's
Oh.
like a very distinctive stone house on Hill
Yeah.
Street, it just sold, it kind of got like cleaned up.
Oh,
It's a
yes,
porch,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's like the front of the horseshoe, it's that house and my house, and then cats live on the back.
Cool, we are neighbors almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So you guys go down Hill Street and
Yeah.
through the crazy intersection
Yeah.
on, still on Route 14. Go by the Cumberland Farms and then you have EF Wall, right?
Yeah.
Wall Street.
oh, I know.
Right after Wall Street, you take that right before you go up the hill.
Yes.
And that's called Mill Street.
Yeah.
And then my house is out there on the
Oh,
left.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two buyout lots up there.
Okay.
And there should have been a third, honestly. Our neighbor Morel's house was supposed to be a buyout and the owner was like, nope, I'll just knock half the house down.
Wow.
But like one is in this kind of like corner and that is one that I would love to see just like return
Right.
to like flora. There's even some shady parts that I think some ferns would do like really well in and just be like really hardy and kind of like that back corner.
Great.
And then the one that's more prevalent, I thought it would be beautiful and like lovely to have people have community gardens, and then they said no. And then I said, okay, well, what about like permanent bocce court, and we could have the Italian like heritage group, name it, and like they could even maybe like throw a little money on it. And they were like, no permanent structures. And I was like, okay, well then it just needs to be like cleaned up because it is just full of nothing but ants.
Interesting.
And I have a neighbor who parks on it and it drives me nuts because it's technically a city park.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I wanted to do is like plant a row of hydrangeas or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
that sounds amazing. I think that's really, especially the ones that aren't, for floodplain reasons, like it's
Right.
really gonna be community buy-in, like what do the neighbors wanna do, because they're the ones that are looking
Right.
at it and
Good point, yeah.
are gonna be maintaining it,
green
honestly, like the
spaces.
city
Yeah.
isn't gonna do
Yeah.
much.
And how do the ants feel about it?
Yeah.
Right, make sure you.
I go over there with some pet friendly ant twice a summer.
So I would love to open up to questions, if you had any questions about anything that I talked about so far, and just think about in the future if there's anything.
I mean, like, I just think it's so uplifting, like, to like hear about these things that you have done, and they're like wonderful resources. We are such a small committee because it was actually that this committee was also part of the cemeteries committee.
Right.
And then they had too many people a couple years ago who wanted to be on the cemetery committee.
It's a great problem to have.
And really, I wanted to be on it because it was also like the historic preservation.
Yeah.
Right? That got dropped from literally any committee name and they siphoned off.
So there's no one doing active anymore, doing anything over there at cemeteries.
Well, at
Oh, yes.
cemeteries, there's a little,
Yeah.
but it was
Okay,
like,
good.
it was cemeteries, parks and historic like preservation or something. And that was the part that I was super interested in with the parks and like loving downtown and right.
Mhm.
And they said, well, why don't we create and like we'll segregate the committees. And so now there's cemeteries and it was recreation and parks. But I thought if we ultimately like got traction on social media, Parks and Rec would pick up better.
And we got the
Yes.
cow pasture committee.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Right.
and now there's a cow pasture
Right.
committee and then facilities committee. And so it's all the things that like we would love to do with community engagement. There's also like another committee that's like partially involved with some of those things. It is really tricky. But to hear some of the things that like you have done in the past and like to find more resources outside of ourselves.
Yeah,
Like this was my one night where I didn't need to go out and do anything this week, but I'm here and I'm so glad I
Yay,
came.
good, I'm glad.
Just a thought, they tried to make the community gardens committee part of the cemetery committee. And of course, they didn't want anything, I had attended the meeting, they didn't want anything to do with it, and I don't blame them because they had their hands full with the
Yeah,
Elmwood and Hope.
yeah,
But perhaps, since there really is no community gardens committee anymore, just like I was the point person,
Yeah.
now Pam's the point person. She might wanna be part of your group, which is illogical.
That'd be awesome, especially since like
Mhm.
we've been talking a lot about gardens, like in the Parks and Rec committee, so
Yeah,
it just kind of
and it's
fits.
already pretty strong and popular, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. I did have a question. I think one thing I'm realizing and trying to address is that like we don't know, and
Yeah.
residents may not. If you've lived here a long time, or you know, you kind of hear from a friend. So like trying to create like a map or a list of all the resources. But I want to be mindful of things like
Great
aren't
idea.
Parks and Rec. So are there things that you think are public and public access that should be considered, like in addition to the list of, like, is the orchard somewhere where people would go or not necessarily, and it's more like
No,
natural
it's always a
resources?
tough one, right?
Yeah,
Because we don't, the elementary school doesn't really want like random people
Yeah.
there when the school kids are there
Mhm.
probably, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, yeah, I walk up there all the time.
Yeah.
It's like beautiful for sunsets and
And there's a bike path that goes.
Yeah.
you can use.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just, yeah, I understand the elementary school not wanting it, but like, you know, there's the
It's
bike
public.
path, and then we got
Yeah.
playground, Charlie's playground
Charlie's, yeah.
down there.
Playground 2000 was called Charlie's.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, it's
all
Charlie's
switched,
playground now.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
gave all the money to.
Cool.
and then
good.
since you're on the river access task force, like it took me a while to know there's a waterfall in Barre.
I know,
Like, is
yeah.
And
that?
then
What?
there's the waterfront, waterfall property.
Oh.
I do, actually, I'm right, I live right there, but
Wow.
but we did, for Bear River Access Task Force, we did have a big event there.
Yeah.
Last year, after the flood kind of came through that
Mhm.
floodplain, we're talking from Rotary Park, right,
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah.
And so we did reopen that trail, it was so successful, there were a lot of folks who showed up and like love for Barry, it was
Yeah.
really a sweet exercise, but you know, that trail isn't the most sustainable because it's gonna keep on getting flooded, right?
Yeah.
So this year, what we're only kind of thing for improvement is that we're gonna be adding something to the Rotary, those ugly structures, those like brown structures.
Yeah.
We made something last year that's like an archway that kind of announces that trail
Oh, yeah.
before, you know, because you can't
Oh,
really
yeah.
see it
Does
on
it
that.
have to be brown?
I don't know, I've really tried, like,
Natural,
I've-
but.
I'm presenting to them, if you guys want to like tag onto that, it's when March, April, I'd have to send you, if it's like April 15th. They have, you could probably pop in on their meetings, it's over here at the library.
Yeah. We hosted their
Oh, you
last
did,
one.
perfect.
But Caroline is the new Rotary president.
Yay.
And she's great.
She's amazing.
Like she has really wonderful
No,
energy,
Caroline.
so.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Mhm.
So I like, as I sort of slowly work on maybe a map or a list, if you felt like you had time, maybe I could run it by you.
That'd be
and say,
great.
Hey,
I'd
is there
love that.
anything we're missing?
I think the things that you brought up tonight are just like such special things that I had no idea about, and I think that there's such a, to people who don't live here, right?
Yeah.
There's such like a bad reputation, and I think it's
We don't
getting,
have natural
it's
beauty
getting,
in Barre.
yeah, it's getting better, but to be able to like share something like a community orchard,
Mhm.
like brings nothing but like lovely feelings,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah, I would love to.
Well, the
I
fact
think
that we
that's
have
like a
anything on
quality
your
of
list.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's little things like this little pocket park where we got the lavender, it's like right over here, you can.
So across from Matheson Playground.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, which is a
okay.
public space, really interesting history, it was in
Mhm.
1980, the city like was doing some work underground and hit a gas line and then exploded the house when the woman was like little sweet old lady.
I just walked by it and
Yeah.
thought it exploded.
She like, you had just no kidding.
Yeah, but, yeah, a woman was killed, and so it was a memorial park for the lady killed, and her husband maintained it for a long time.
So
Then
oh,
he was getting old and he gave it to the city, the land to the
It's a
city.
tiny little lot.
That's
That's
honestly all the things you're saying too is like stuff that the community needs to know about.
Yeah, he used to have a memorial bench there and everything, but when he gave it to the city, he took everything away.
Does it have a name, the park? Like, is it named for
I
the
thought about it,
person?
but we didn't do that.
Oh, now, what it was, the person who died, they were, Spanish,
You can find the article, we found it, like
um,
the newspaper article, it was a big deal, if you ask anyone who's been around.
I'll think of
at
it
the
before I
time,
go.
They're like, well, I remember where I was, like.
it's a
these
very old
old
Spanish
towns.
family from Barre.
Sounds to me like something that
and that
people
new like
need to know more
Princess
about.
Park.
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, it's got quite a history and that's family.
I'm sure the city
You
wants
know,
us to
the
forget about it, to be honest.
The son-in-law used to own Gusto's, I mean, everybody knows everybody, so you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
One thing in particular you might be interested in just with parks is that I've been scouting up some of the FEMA buyouts and the end of Vine Street, there's that buyout that it's right across from a park that's already there, which I never knew that park was there until yesterday. It's just like, but it looks like they put some good money into the infrastructure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so.
Oh, the playground.
Yeah, the playground, so then right
Yeah.
across the street is being bought out, so it looks like an easy expansion of the playground, I would think, like.
But this playground itself is on, you mean, it's on
Vine Street, is that the one?
Floodplain.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it's already.
I think
Yeah,
that's where the one
I don't think
fatality
they have
in
a
FEMA,
playground.
or
It's already
in
there.
Barre was.
No, it's been there a long
Yeah.
time, but I'm
But yeah.
saying now that it's gotten flooded, I don't.
It's actually in good shape, they're using it, yeah, but it will just keep that, and we're not buying that out, that's. it's just
Yeah,
too
I wonder if
costly.
they'll, keep it.
Yeah.
One question, near the community gardens, near under that tree, are those like berries or there's something planted there? I'm just being curious.
Yeah, that was so wonderful. That was like one of my first years. So gosh, it's probably been almost over 15 years since we planted those, and it was, we thought like, well, it'll be a couple of years, and we were maintaining them really well, but it was 100 raspberry branches basically, and then we just got on mowing them and fertilizing them, and yeah, they've just grown back really
They're
well.
fall bearers, right?
Fall bearing raspberries.
But nobody's maintaining them now.
Yeah.
which is great about raspberries, you don't have to.
Well, they
Exactly.
got a cane borer.
Yeah, we were managing for that for a
And
long
you see
time.
it for a while, so nobody's really, it's something I bet the city will never do, so some of the neighbors pick the berries, and I think if they knew how to take care of them, they would.
Yeah, exactly. It takes in the fall, like
Maybe a little
cutting them all
cinnamon.
down, and then there is a spot right there that you can go like stash the brush over in the forest and.
But the cane borer, you can't do that, you gotta put them in a bag.
Oh, good point. Well, we've been putting them over there, so I'm sure it's, it's been infested.
And as of now, like I wanna be mindful that you
Yeah.
may expand that area, or the garden folks may, but is that a spot where like, can yoga classes happen there? That's all city property and like
city
small events.
I think that
and-
whole hill is like underutilized,
Well,
honestly.
it's so, I've taken yoga classes on the
Is it
hill and it's
loud?
very loud, so
Mm.
I'd suggested to rooted yoga, I
That's
was
a
like,
very nice place.
could we do it near the tree, and it,
Absolutely.
I don't know if they did future classes there.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, the answer is yes, absolutely.
Great.
The
You might wanna
reason.
check with the cemetery committee.
Yeah, well, the reason the city gave us permission to do
City.
anything with that space, as well as the orchard space, is that they were problem spaces for the city, so.
Yeah.
People were, there was a lot of dog activity up there, and we didn't want dogs there anymore, so we said, well, if there's gardens, maybe they'll be less, and so that's how we allowed this. People were like blowing donuts up at the orchard space, and we were like, well, if we put trees in there with huge cages,
Yeah.
and it worked, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, this is so helpful, I
Good.
think
I know
I
it's
took
It
a
really
lot there
is.
notes.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't wanna, I know you've got other stuff, so
Yeah.
I don't wanna spend too much
Please.
time
All
on
of
it.
this
Yeah.
is
No.
Our stuff is,
way
we
more
probably don't have a lot to
beneficial,
report out from our last
Yeah.
meeting,
So
so.
basically, our Friends of Mathewson have been around for about 25, 30 years.
Mhm.
There's only 4 people in our group now. We're older, no one has the energy to make it blossom again, it should be people your age, you know? But anyway, we still keep plugging along. So, we got this grant from the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program. And Adam McCullough is the forester, so he approached me about applying, and I kind of went, oh, I don't even know what to do. But he was very into it, and he's really helped a lot. So we ended up with a grant for $11,500 for, and this is what we are going to do. We're gonna plant 4 trees on the playground. It's an asphalt playground, there's not a lot of room, but it desperately needs shade. We lost 2 major ash trees due to the emerald ash borer, so. And part of it, we're going to dig up a little bit of the pavement that's around a bench. And we're using a method to plant because like with the streets, it's so tight. They call it the Stockholm method. And a special way of making an environment for a tree in a place that's, so this is a new thing, and Adam's going to show us how to do it. It's called the modified Stockholm.
I love
You mean
it.
like Stockholm syndrome? Like
I know
when you
that's
get-
what I think of.
It
Sounds like
is.
it is, yeah.
Anyway.
You're gonna grow there or else.
Yeah, so it's, they use biochar and they just make this
Ah.
environment, so he's gonna help the city
Yeah.
plan it and learn how to do this. We're getting our trees from East Hill, so we're putting the tree guards.
Yeah.
It's vandalized often, the playground, so you just have to know that that's gonna happen. And we're also gonna put labels, reverse labels with Latin and common names on the trees. And also, we're going to sponsor a workshop for the street department
Yes,
and the
thank you.
building and grounds.
Around tree pruning.
For everything, Adam's gonna lead it for us, and it's just about tree care in the city
Yes.
environment.
Huge.
And Tom Baker is going to organize that group.
I'm so glad.
So that's kind of our plug to help us cut the grant too.
Well
But the last thing we're gonna do is, and I was hoping that you guys might be involved, is we're gonna have a project completion party, probably at the end of the summer when things have been in for a while before school starts. And it's gonna combine it with a tour of what we've done in the trees
Yeah, perfect.
with Adam. And he is also gonna do a question and answer thing for like homeowners about what kind of trees do I get in an urban situation, what should I plant? You know, this, it's a lot of question and answer, we'll have a cake and that type of thing, so. You know, we're only 4, you're only maybe 3 or 4.
Combined
Three,
forces.
yeah.
So, you know, kind of looking for a partner,
Yeah,
because
be super
we're really
fun.
under your umbrella in a
Yeah.
way.
we also have
Sounds fun.
that new community grant that we oversee that
Which
I
we talked
think,
about, it would, yeah, that's
yeah, that
actually
I
what the
think
grant
would
was
be,
for.
this would be one of those things
Is that
would
what
be.
Amanda Gustin was
Yeah.
talking about?
Mhm.
Like small
Yeah.
amounts of money to help,
Right.
I'm not leaving, I'm just cold.
Yeah, that's not, it wouldn't be to like do anything major, but it could help offset, you know, food costs for the
Yep.
party or something.
Well, I've got enough for that, I will
Okay.
finish the grant.
Okay.
But if we have another event, I know one of the fellows that wanted to have a Halloween party. You know,
Cool.
yeah, not with candles, but we'd provide the
Yeah.
batteries and just have a little
Mhm.
judging and let the kids, and the other thing was a bike safety program with the police.
Okay,
So those are the kind of things we'd like to do with your support
yeah, of
Mhm.
course.
down the road, so.
You know, I think Mr. Ian telling some stories about the park for a Halloween party would be really special.
The only trouble with that location is noise.
Try.
I mean, we
Yeah.
thought of sometime a band maybe Ian playing the,
His bagpipe.
or something like that,
Yeah.
which, cause it's gonna be hard just to even talk to.
We can try, I mean, we have access to a PA speaker, that is pretty powerful, actually, but,
It would be nice for a Halloween party,
Yeah. yeah,
and, you know, before dark, obviously, for the kids.
yeah.
And you said also a Halloween party, and there was another event you
Well,
had thought about?
Bike safety,
Bike
get the police involved and kids, you know,
Yeah.
get free helmets or.
We could
Yeah.
also, that is something that I'm
Kiwanis
sure
used to
Ginger
sponsor
and
that
Darren
too.
would,
Good
We-
point.
would likely
Yeah.
wanna,
So Barrytown's
January
also
is
Darren
involved
already
with that.
said he would do
Yeah.
that, but then
Yeah.
we didn't have the oomph to make it happen,
Yeah.
so.
Barrytown,
Doesn't
you know, we're working with them with the Easter egg hunt, and it sounds like they do a lot of stuff like that, so we can also involve them at least for guidance and.
Guidance would be great,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also just emailed Chantel Michele from Barry
Oh,
City
right.
Elementary.
McKelly,
McKelly, she actually emailed me about being involved with the rain garden, but I also mentioned the tree planting and whatnot. I'd love to have the kids involved with these things.
Yeah.
One, the high school kids, I'll need volunteer hours to begin with, but also, as Kat said, it's important for me to have the Barry City kids involved with events like this.
Yeah, a high school's a good idea for organizing one of these. Just so you know, they used to have summer camps on Mathewson Playground, day camps. And the rec department actually was the one who organized, we got the high school kids to be the counselors. And Tom Davis, didn't you remember Tom Davis? The governor's,
too new.
he used to be, you did?
I think I'm too new.
Well, he was Senator Leahy's spokesperson in
Oh,
Washington.
Tom Barry?
Tom Davis.
Oh, I worked
This would
closely
be
with
way
Tom
back,
Barry.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
but he actually went to school there and told me about that. So there's a lot of history. But anyway, that would be great to start getting some of the high school kids, their projects that they have, senior projects, and
Yep.
but you have to catch them when they're juniors. I mean,
Correct.
yeah, to,
Well, maybe
I'm
four right
trying
at
to
the end
catch
when they're
them.
trying to get their last.
So I have a junior right now
oh,
who
really?
needs volunteer hours, and I have a middle schooler who's doing school, and,
Volunteer hours?
Wow.
What else is on
We
your
need a
agenda?
playground cleanup, you know?
which also
Oh, no,
is
that wasn't-
volunteer hours,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, got it.
Yeah,
No,
well,
I
I can
dropped
let
a
you know.
marker in my
Wow,
bag.
Cleanup
Yes.
day
That'd be
is
awesome. I should've
very
gone with it.
satisfying.
I tell them to
I
get
was like-
involved, for sure, with things
Uh,
like that, and
the
everything
other
we're
part
talking
is to
about.
talk about that grant
Oh,
and then
awesome.
to talk about the Easter egg hunt.
Okay, got it.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you're working on it. We'll get out of your hair. We've already taken so much.
No,
you're
you're not
fine.
in our hair.
That's
So
what friends
Ellen,
were
did you
due
get
to.
posted on what's going on, but East Hill is doing our tree planting. Cause these are gonna be big specimens and,
Yeah,
and
so,
I hate to say it, but with the city, the cleaner and direct to get anything done, cause if you do it that way, then you.
For sure.
that's okay,
Yeah.
but honestly, it's more, we need to just get it out there, and sometimes just people wanna volunteer, so.
Well, I'll just email you
And
when
just
things
go for
happen on
it
the
is really the
playground.
key. It's
Yeah.
like, you got
No,
the green light
yeah.
already.
I'll send pictures.
Post it on the date, then we can figure out how much capacity we have to help, but
Mhm.
I don't wanna speak for all of us, but I think we can
Yeah.
really help
Mostly
with
the
the
party
organization. Yeah,
Oh, the party thing, I'm super excited.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
All right,
And I didn't mean
thank
to
you.
rush you, did you get enough time, did you cover everything you wanted to cover with us?
Yes, cause I kind
Okay.
of talked to you last time a little bit
Great.
about it
Yeah,
anyways.
keep talking to us.
Yeah.
My background is I worked for USDA for 28 years as a soil conservationist. So we used to do a lot of streambank stabilization, riprap,
Yeah.
rock stuff, manure pits,
Yeah, no,
fun stuff.
talking to you last time we were here, it was like, oh my goodness, we need to talk to Ellie
Yeah.
because that's what we needed.
And now you've been
'cause-
in Manta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, great
Well, thank you, and I'll
connections.
stay in touch.
Please do.
Great, thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too.
Are we done?
No, but our stuff, I think frankly, if we don't have a ton of updates and do outs and stuff, I
I
think
got
that
no
was really
updates.
good use of time and.
100%.
So yeah, when Kat's back, we can, because we're still being
Cool.
recorded. The next things are approval of the minutes
Mhm.
and then recruiting additional committee members. And then just next steps on like all our projects. And if
Cool.
maybe it's just like check in next month.
Excellent.
But yeah, I think they both gave us a lot of food for thought.
No, that was huge.
Yeah.
Great to meet you both. Thank you
Great
so
to
Thank you
much.
so much. Nice
Take
meeting you.
care.
Yeah, everything they brought us was what we're looking to do anyways.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night,
I walked in here, my shoulder dropped.
yes, because Barry deserves nice things.
Yes, it does.
It is what.
Night.
Good night.
Yeah,
I guess we're not, only realize now that we're on camera. Oh no,
That's
oh no,
it.
did I just sign us out?
No.
This will be a great recording.
There it is.
His hand. Okay,
That's okay, I didn't think I was gonna leave my house today,
Yeah.
so.
so after a quick
I'm so glad I wasn't the only one.
adjournment, that concludes, I think, our public comment. Next up is approval of minutes from the previous meeting, and if folks had a chance to read them, or if we want to table that for next time.
I approve.
I approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
I second.
okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, okay, minutes are approved. The new agenda item we had, was recruiting additional committee members. I think we
Mhm.
tried there, but
yeah,
but I think maybe they just know. they're-
yeah, she just said like, you know, if we had been around earlier, she probably would have jumped in.
Amanda,
mhm. But
I think it might be a benefit just having these supporters.
yeah, and I think knowing that, you know, the garden center club is there, the community garden club, I'm
Mhm.
fairly close with Pam, I had no idea that she did that.
would we wanna, I don't know how we go about it officially, or if it's appropriate for us to approach individuals, but would we wanna ask Pam if she would like to be a member, even if her main focus is on the gardens?
Yeah,
Okay. Not to put one more thing
Oh,
on you,
no,
would
I
you
mean,
wanna
I
have
can- I
an
can literally-
informal
I can literally
conversation?
text her
Okay,
right
and then
now.
we can check with the city.
Yeah.
So if you can ask her about initial interest. And then we will explore if she's interested, how she gets, because I think for all of us, we were like, you know, had to go before city council.
Right.
Or added, I don't know if you can do it mid-year. Okay, and maybe that'll be good information to know in case anyone else approached us, or in case someone really interested in being on a committee.
It's a
we'll
really
know
great
that.
point. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm trying to think what maybe upcoming, or maybe we need to have an event to then therefore have a table to recruit people. So maybe that can just be any of our event planning, part of any of our event planning that we're like, hey, here's what the
Yeah.
Parks and Rec committee, so.
what was Amanda's last name?
I was gonna say
Garland.
Garland. Great, okay, I don't wanna rush us, but I also don't wanna belabor points, is that everything on committee member recruitment
Yes.
for now? Okay. Old agenda items, we were just, so I think that's fine all around, but I'll just go through the list, and if there's anything, let me know, otherwise we'll just re-up it for next month. Easter egg hunt, it seems like it's just moving full steam ahead. We
I
have
think
some
we should just
due
need to
outs.
support Berrytown as much as we can.
I
They
agree.
seem like they have a great hold on what needs to be done, and we just need to be there to help out.
Yeah, and I can't be there like day of, I can drop things off, I can drop
I
things
can.
off early.
So I will be there. I gotta tell them I can. But in the meantime, I guess the only thing I wanna add to that is looking forward to turning this into a year after year thing. So if we follow Berrytown, then we can like really start to like dial it down for next year as far as who we wanna involve, who,
Yeah,
let's just go.
I mean, or we see how it plays out.
Yes, yeah.
Right, like I'm a little skeptical on a couple of the logistics pieces, I've been vocal that I don't love some of the partnerships,
Right,
but you know, I also don't have time to like fully plan an Easter egg hunt.
Yep.
So
and also this might be like exactly the way it needs to be, or, you know, the other great thing about this is that we're working with Berrytown. And we were talking about community partnership, and this is exactly what we want to happen. If it doesn't work out the way we want it to, then we figure it out for next year, how to make it better.
Yeah, so we can put it, depending on when we meet in April, we can reassess how it goes, and then see if and how we wanna be involved, and probably earlier next year.
Yeah,
Like if it just doesn't work and no one wants to do it again, that's one thing. or I wouldn't hate if they were like, we love this and love to did it and we don't have capacity to do it.
Mhm.
Ideally, I would like us to be involved if we can bring value to it. If we can't,
Sure.
and if we don't have the capacity. Okay, great.
I'm also
Right.
loving how Barre Town's involved with this, and again, like, these are our community partners.
Yeah, we
and I
don't
wanna
have to do it.
continue that relationship.
Yeah. Great. Any updates on rain gardens?
Other than Barre City, Chantel McKelly contacted me about interests
Great.
helping out Barre City Elementary.
Oh, okay, great.
They're doing a program on gardening.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's right up their
Okay.
alley. This is what I wanted to do, so I just need to get more information.
Okay. Great. Rose garden? I think we
Rose garden
inadvertently
we've
some
done a little bit,
information there.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think getting, I don't know, are you working from home at all this week,
Thursday.
Thursday? Josh, you wanna join us for like a mid-afternoon stroll over to the cemetery?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
We
I
can do
think
like a.
It might be later. I have some appointments up in Burlington.
Yeah.
But just let me know.
Great. And I think actually, I really like the Elmwood spot, but I'm now intrigued by the FEMA lots. But that doesn't matter. That's just my personal gut at the
Well,
moment.
I think the idea of putting like actual flora
Mhm.
like into the FEMA lots
Mhm.
rather than them just being grass
Yeah.
that gets mowed every week. I think it's all beneficial, especially like roses, while they do need to be like pruned if you want them to like really thrive.
Yeah.
They are really a plant that you can set it and forget it. If you get something that is like a crawler, it's much more, I don't know, they can do a lot with very little, but even just like native flowers, I think would be really beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I do love the connection to the cemetery as a
I do too,
meditative
especially
area.
Ginger's
Right.
presentation. And I really wanna like continue to like develop her idea.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm just thinking like, oh, there's not as much block of space. But anyway, how about we just start with, if our schedules line on Thursday, we can follow up separately.
Yep.
Walk over to Elmwood. We can also see the lots.
Yeah.
Great. Parks and Rec map and tour. I haven't made much progress other than I found another thing I was supposed to do was a bingo card. Super easy.
Mhm.
So that's also why I was asking Amanda, like, what are resources we don't even know about? So
Yeah.
I'll mock that up. And what I was saying to Josh is I feel like I like the accountability of being like, by the next meeting, I'll have done this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then as a bad
Meh,
student,
yeah.
I wait till the day before at best. And instead, even though we shouldn't communicate or make
Yeah.
decisions on email, I'm gonna send that to you all in a week. Like, that it
Oh,
can be
okay.
in between.
Yeah,
That
Cause
was
I feel
great.
all gung ho and I leave and then it's
Okay.
like, yeah. So
I
that's just
thought-
my own deadline.
I love the idea of things being on there too that aren't like true parks, but
Yeah.
something like the orchard, like the
Yeah,
waterfall.
just a
Yeah,
special spot
honestly,
in
that
Barre.
should be added to the parks
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because those are like, I'm, as like a resident for me,
Mhm.
I'm probably not gonna go to a playground.
Yeah.
Because I don't have kids, it would be very creepy if I did, right? But
Well, good.
these things,
Yeah.
like, those things are like very enticing to do, and I knew about the waterfall, I did not know about the orchard, I didn't know about like so many of the things
Yeah.
that she was talking about. And I mean, having a nursery, that's a resource that like I had no idea
Mhm.
was even available.
Yeah, and I was thinking, we could probably ask a local business, if someone completes their bingo card, like, could they turn in for a free ice cream or a pool pass or whatever? And if that's gonna cost us too much money or whatever, even like completed bingo cards could be like sent and like we draw one like once a
Yeah,
Right.
quarter or something,
I
so.
would, not to like,
No
you
ice
know,
cream?
I'm gonna be like, no, I mean, I'm
I'm
gonna be
teasing
like
you.
such a poo-pooer, but like, I think the bingo card just has to be like the incentive to go do these things, because there is no proof that
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
anyone did
Yeah,
anything, and I get very skeptical about
I think that's fair.
like situations where people would abuse a system, and I also
Mhm.
know the downtown like businesses get hit up for free things
Yeah.
all the time.
That's sort
I
of
think the
fair.
pool pass is super smart,
Where it's
Right.
like,
but then what would, like, what's the limit? Like, one completed bingo card is your,
yeah,
you know.
I'd say that like drawing something, but to be honest, like,
Mhm.
I feel like we can also cross this bridge once I make a bingo card.
Right.
But I hear you.
I was kind of thinking about this the other day too, like us talking about the website,
Mhm.
and we wanted to make a map and whatnot. We already have the website that is a huge resource, and I think maybe we should focus on like developing that more
Yeah,
and including some of these things like the orchard and some
Mhm.
other like public
So when,
recreational
do you wanna
things.
pull up the website on just
Yeah.
this computer?
mm-hmm.
The website is a little tricky to
Mhm.
navigate.
Yes,
Yeah,
So-
like I think I only found the list, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I think through Googling. But I agree, like, let's not reinvent the wheel, and
Yeah.
if they have that as a landing page, let's say, okay, could you add the orchard, could you add this, could you
Yeah.
add that?
Mhm.
Can you add a downloadable bingo card, can you add a
Right.
downloadable map?
yeah,
Yeah, because like recreation is not,
Visit city parks and playgrounds.
there we go.
I think this is new, because when we first talked about it, I
don't
hadn't
think it was
found
here.
this.
Yeah, embedding the old internet is not as good.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's the map. This is basically what it has on it. It's a list of, I just copied and pasted the entire thing. So there's like a little photo, it says the address, and then it has like a sentence about each park.
yeah, I'd like to develop that more. And
Yeah.
I think this is like our idea with the map. Is kind of already here that we can develop that
Yeah.
is more cost effective
I agree.
and a huge wealth of knowledge. And
Mhm.
it sounds like we can
Yeah.
add, it's just more of, can we get access, change that?
Yeah, I'll make a note that like part of this can also be figuring out the tech of it, which should just be pretty easy, but.
Mhm.
Check.
Those pictures could use some updates.
Yeah, it could be a little more visually appealing.
So can like the MapQuest part of it, like Google Maps,
Mhm.
like there's some of them that doesn't have one, we can add a Google Maps, we can add some
Yeah.
history to each park.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we were just talking about the one across the street from Matthew's playground, like
Mhm.
why don't we talk about that more? That should be
Yeah,
the history of Barre.
probably because the city doesn't want you to never blow up somebody's house.
Well,
But it was 1980.
Yeah.
Are there updates and other due outs to the February meeting? They're in the minutes, so if after this meeting at your leisure, you wanna look at the updates, those were there. We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
Further discussion on previous agenda items. I don't have any, but just to read out loud, it's micro grant proposal.
Mhm.
I think we're okay there. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna work on developing a mock
Yeah, we got to like
application.
July or
Mhm.
and we said maybe we should set for like June for
Mhm.
people, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some time. And then use of the auditorium and the BOR.
We also, sorry, there does still need to get into the list that we have to go before city council.
yes, we do have to present it
Yeah.
to city council at some point.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's.
We should do that sooner rather than later, I guess.
And then one of our members here, Matt, is on the auditorium committee.
Oh, great.
And I was like, yeah, we wanna host like all of the things you can do committees.
Yeah.
And he was like, they won't come, but you can come to ours. And I was like,
See,
oh,
that was what I was gonna suggest for next. I just think we should at least invite people, and I think it might show. It doesn't need every committee
Mhm.
members to show up, but if we just did like a potluck or something
Mhm.
very casual.
yeah,
And if one member of your committee can show up, I don't wanna go to 12 committee, that just feels
Yeah.
very inefficient.
I'd
Yeah.
love to invite town council as well, or city council.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't disagree with that, my thinking is maybe have a meeting, although maybe this is too many meetings, a meeting with just like committee members and then maybe something. 'Cause I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
we'll
fine.
just to like meet each other and maybe we're like, you have 5 minutes to talk about what your committee's doing that you think is gonna be
Mhm.
relevant to other people in this room. And then like,
Again, the goal is community development and
yeah,
just.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm finding to talking to other people out in the community is communication
yeah,
is lacking. So I'd love to foster more communication between anybody.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, is there a Barre City, I should just go on the website, but a calendar that like if any committee's doing any sort of public event, it would go on that one calendar?
Yes.
Okay, like not just meetings, like Easter egg hunt, the garden, what is the garden?
I don't know,
club?
so I don't think I think it's there, but it's just not utilized, and I think
And they don't have a staff member to do it, and it.
Facebook's the way to go with that. Like
Yeah.
the Barry community chat
Mhm.
is the way to go.
I agree as far as like making sure people know about it. I'm just thinking about like a centralized
Mhm.
place to like have not eyes on everything, but just to be like, oh, I didn't know we're planning something in Courier Park and you're planning something in Courier Park. Maybe we're more eventy or could be more eventy than some of the other committees, like a transportation place.
I think involving
Yes.
maybe 802 Scoop
Mhm.
might be a good idea. Maybe we can talk to, who's it, Michael Luton, who runs that?
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a good pulse on the, as far as like the online stuff, so.
Yeah. Or maybe this is more of an internal document. I guess I'm just thinking like we didn't know that other committees met certain times and there was like a
Right.
limit to the number of, just like almost, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, maybe that's something for our
It all makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm just gonna say, I don't, like, if we aim to do this in May, because we'll meet next in April. And then maybe at our April meeting, we can just send out an invitation to the
Yeah.
points of contact and they can come or not.
Put it on the agenda, we'll do it during the meeting.
We'll
think
do
it's
the
more important.
emailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
okay.
think it's more important we, invite, it doesn't mean that they have to come.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I mean, yeah, I think it's just an offering, it's an invitation, literally.
Yeah. I mean, we can invite, Michael just because he is also just one of our very city representatives who has a pulse. But if we did that, I would want us to invite Teddy as well.
We can invite everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
We definitely shouldn't exclude anybody and it's more important, they don't even have to be on council, the more important part is that it's community invited and.
Great.
If it's
That's
a Tuesday, we can probably host it here.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday. Tuesday, it's not available every Thursday, because we have to go do trivia, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go to one of your trivia
Yeah,
soon.
Josh is in some trivia right now. for
Yeah.
this.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I know, we're all so happy here.
Yeah. So you're Gusto's trivia guy?
I'm a trivia guy altogether, but
Tuesdays is Gusto's trivia though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know where the trivia game is in town.
I mean,
Yeah, you do.
we obviously do not need to commit to now, but maybe like Tuesday, May 6th.
Okay,
I'm out of town after that for a few Tuesdays. Anyway, not set in stone. I'm just gonna put that date with a question mark.
that works.
Speaking of that, assuming there's nothing else to discuss, do we wanna try to make this meeting the second Wednesday of every month? And then now our book club, we've tried to push the third Wednesday of every month.
Oh, sure.
Does
Yeah, I
the
guess
second
we gotta
Wednesday of
commit.
every month generally work for you?
Yes.
So that would put us at April 9th.
Town.
It's my daughter's birthday.
Okay, well, we can find a different date.
I'll just bring her.
That's your favorite thing to do for a birthday,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, we found out, what is today? Today's the third Tuesday of the month,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a free Zoom spot, so maybe just that would be 1, 2, 3, say third Tuesday, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
April 15th.
April 15th, tax day? Does that
All
sound
my
like it?
taxes are already filed, so that's
Great.
fine. Again, not excluding any other community members.
Yeah, that day looks good.
Okay, 6:30, good time?
Yes.
And I don't wanna make assumptions, but is here okay, or do you prefer, okay,
No, here's fine.
great. And then maybe, again, just because we've run into some issues, that would mean the second Wednesday of May would be May 14th.
Second, I thought we just said Tuesdays.
That was, I mean, I don't care Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Oh, you're
that
saying
was
just that day?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but either way.
I'll follow your leads. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Okay, well, we don't need to, let's just make sure Tuesday, April 15th, and then
Yeah.
we can pencil in Wednesday, May 14th.
Yep.
For next meeting, pencil in. Okay, these notes are crazy, but, okay. Anything else to discuss?
No.
Mhm.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Mhm.
Seconded, approved, we're good?
Segment there.
Yes.
Okay, adjourned at 7:54.